Hi, my name is Matt Taylor. I'm the Clinical Director from Response Physiotherapy, and today's YouTube session is all about setting up the home office, and especially those for whom working at the kitchen table is the only option. My kitchen table, and this is by no means the perfect setup. It's not at all the perfect setup. And one of the things that normally happens is this is quite a dark corner of the room. However, the sunlight at this time of night is coming through the window, and you can see it starting to shine on my computer screen. And so one of the first things is that is not good, right? When you've got the sunshine coming in, you get loads of glare from the screen, and we need to make sure that doesn't happen. You can see it on my face there. So what we need to do is make sure this is not got loads of glare from this side, and equally we don't want a window here to have loads of glare from that side. So we want to try and make sure it's not really a focused situation. However, what we do need is a lot of light. So we've got lots of light there from artificial light, and in an ideal world I would block out that sun so it wasn't shining on my screen, so I wasn't have to eye strain and change my position to get to it. Next thing we need to do is look at the seat height. And why do we need to look at the seat height? Because it's going to be different for everybody. We're all different sizes, and often with the kitchen table we haven't got a choice for a perfect position. So what we're going to do here is look at the fact that our elbows are lower than our wrists. Okay, now on a laptop we've also got a problem with the fact that the keyboard is really small as well. So what we're going to do is change this elbow to wrist height. It might seem really obvious, however, had a couple of phone calls since we did the same thing on Tuesday, and such a simple thing has made a massive difference to how people are working. And you can now see my elbows are at a better position. Now in an ideal world I'd probably have my arms here, so I'd be even higher, but if I get too high I'm getting away from my screen. So there's an engineering situation going on where we've got to compromise on what we can achieve. So the next stage of what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and raise this screen up so I can get my screen height right. But what you can see here is a better position. Not perfect, but better. My wrists are not quite as under pressure, and my forearm muscles not quite as under pressure as if when I was down here. And that's a lot harder for here. You end up with things like tennis elbow, and you also get then a strain coming up through the neck and shoulder area. Now the strain happens because when I'm working on a keyboard, a laptop keyboard, my hands are quite close together, and the key bit is my thumbs are dependent, so they pull me in and send my elbows out. Okay, so this position happens, and that position is a really hard work all up the elbows, all up there. All right, so this position is better now that I've raised myself up and my feet are not quite the right place, but we're okay. My feet are flat on the floor. Next thing we need to do is I've got to get this screen height to the right level. So I found a box. And so yes, there are lots of things out there that I can use to create this situation. We can buy them, but whilst we're waiting for delivery and all that sort of stuff, I'm going to make use of this box that I found. All right, and that brings the screen to a level, it's not perfect again, but it's not far off, whereby it should be just below my eye level, which would be about here. This is much better than it was. Okay, it's not going to be perfect, but now I've got the problem of I'm back to this position with my arms. So I'm going to bring in my keyboard. Now this does two things, this keyboard. You can see, look at that, I've got the light coming onto my computer screen here, so we wouldn't want that normally. So I've got my screen at the right height, or a better height, and this keyboard is going to allow me to be in the right place with my raised up position for my seat, and now my elbows are not too bad there. However, we've got a problem with a laptop keyboard. A laptop keyboard is about that wide, and a keyboard, the same rules, is about that wide. Now that's only 3 centimeters, but makes a massive difference into how positionally your hands are not cramped in. Instead, they're a bit more relaxed. We've still got the problem with the thumbs dependent, but we can be in a better position. And if we went up even a little bit higher, you'll notice as I'm here and my elbows are not quite right, my shoulders are a little bit tense there, and so as I go up a little bit higher you can see everything open out a little bit more. Okay. Now, next problem I've got is the trackpad. This trackpad again closes me in. I end up into this position, my shoulders go up, tension starts to creep in, stiffness in these joints, and then it comes down the arm as my arms are elbows stuck out. So I've got a spare mouse. Now all of this kit, my box cost me nothing, my mouse cost me £10, my keyboard maybe cost £10 as well, but it's essential to really be able to come out of this not in feeling loads of tightnesses and all that sort of stuff. So we're trying to minimise those stresses and strains. Okay, so I've got my keyboard, I've got my screen in the right place, and I'm pretty much set up. Okay, and these are all engineering principles. We want the body to not be under this position. We want the body to not be lifting up the shoulders, as minimising the stress as possible. Got the height right, not perfect, but not bad, much better than it was. Okay, and then I'm onto my mouse. Now this mouse is great. Now what you'll recognise is a habit that most people have, and as they work through the day, the mouse starts to get away from them, and they start to rest down into this position, right? And the chin goes sticking out, and I've got a sharp angle at my neck now. I'm relaxed in my back. It's not bad to be like this for 5 minutes. This is fine for 5 minutes, but actually as I pull everything back you can start to see that it just looks in a better position. You can see it's reduced the strain around my neck, and then as that mouse gets away from me it just starts to really slump into that shape. So we need something to stop the mouse. We could use a mouse mat, and that would provide some restriction to this space that we're in. Or if we haven't got a mouse mat, we're going to put some tape on the desk, and that's going to give me an indicator that this is the place where I need to stop. Okay, the mouse can't get past that point. If it does go past that point, it's probably time to get up and have a move around. Okay, but this is just going to give me an indication of where I need to be. All right. So why have we got to do this? Well, what happens is, if my mouse gets away, my elbow comes out there like so. So I'll exaggerate. And now my shoulder's having to hold that position, and over time, not long, 20 minutes maybe, this is going to start to really make me change again. I'm going to turn away from it. I'm going to turn away from it. Okay. So when it's back here, you can see how my shoulder wants to be in a better position. Right. So we've got the stresses of the keyboard being too close together on a laptop. So we go to a slightly wider one. This is a better position, allows my thumbs to free up. We've got the stresses of the mouse. When it gets away from me, I start to slump down and really have to control the situation muscularly. Whereas when it stays in here, I'm under control and my elbow doesn't come out here. Okay. Now you can buy mouses. You can buy a mouse that is a bit more on the side there, and again that helps with this shoulder position. Okay, and they used to be £80, but now £10. Okay. So we've got all these forces that we've started to change. Our sitting position is better. However, what we also need to do is think about the fact that if I'm here for 6 hours, computer work, phone, whatever it is, I'm going to get tight around my hip flexors, because my hip flexor goes, and I'm going to just change the camera angle slightly so you can see this. So my hip flexor goes from my groin to my back through my stomach. Okay, and that is now holding me up all day. And as I've said before, it's okay to slump, but it's not okay to slump for long periods of time. So if you were here for 5 minutes, that'd be fine, but any longer than 5 minutes, just a bit too long. It's probably also essential to slump, because it just gives these muscles a rest, this hip flexor a bit of a rest. 5 minutes and I'm back up again. Okay, at the end of a long day, we're going to need to change how this all feels. Excuse me. We need to change how this all feels. So before we go and exercise, we need to have a look at some exercises. My helpful camera operator is on holiday today, so we're going to need to look at some exercises for how we change all of this. Okay, so we're going to get into this position first of all. Alright, and we're going to take a foam roller or a tube like so and put it between our knees. Okay, now what the tube does is it helps us engage the inside leg muscles, and by engaging the inside leg muscles it helps us switch off the hip flexor from groin to lower back. Okay, and then we're going to start to do just some simple crunches. Alright, nothing too much, nice and steady. What we don't want to do is come and sit right up, because that brings in the hip flexor. So what we want to do is just simple crunches, not too far. And what you're doing there, by keeping the squeeze on, you are starting to change the pressure in this whole hip area. Okay. Now obviously there are some things you want to be careful of. If you've got low back pain, you want to make sure that this is the right thing to do. You don't want to move into pain. It's okay to move into a pull, but it's not okay to move into a pain. And by pushing through the exercise, it's not going to help in that sense. So you've got to be sensible about what you're doing, but this is the good starting point for trying to free this up. Okay, so that's the hip flexors that are starting to free up, and when you stand up from that, you're going to feel freer all the way around. Okay. All right, I'm going to move my camera back to, whoops, daisy. There we go, back to that position there. So let's just recap. We've got our screen in the right place, we've got our extra keyboard, we've got our mouse, we've got a piece of sticky tape on the thing, and these are all to stop us getting away and getting into this position. We've looked at how you recover for your lower back by making your stomach muscles work and switching off your hip flexors, and what that means is changing the input to the hip flexors that have been tight and holding all day. And now we need to look at a couple of options for our how we release the pressure that's been growing through the neck and shoulders, and the pressure that's been growing through both forearms from the keyboard position. All right, now this is an interesting one. I encourage you to try it. Okay, where the seam of the shirt is, we want to put a ball or an unstable object into there like so. Okay, and what that will do is it makes it really difficult to be in this position. Okay, and it means you've got to work harder, and you'll notice my thumb is now in a slightly better position. It's very difficult for me to do this without letting go of the ball. Okay, so rather than just working at your keyboard non-stop, it's good to put these two things in, and then a couple of tennis balls will do, and then work at the keyboard in that position. And what you're doing now, and I'll show you from the side, so I'll take that ball out. So if I'm at the keyboard and I'm working away, and then if I spend 5 minutes of the day here, you can see the muscles in the back of my shoulders have started to work, and it's very difficult for me to slump down, because if I do, the ball drops out or it digs into my rib. So the position now is much better for me to work away. If I take those two out, it's much easier. You can see my shoulders are much more forwards. Okay, and if I put that one back in, as I hold it again, you can see almost it just pulls me backwards, and it makes using the mouse much harder, much more effortful. Okay, now that effort is good effort. It's not take all the effort out, because this is quite a lot of strain through the neck and the shoulders, whereas now just that simple thing is making me do some work in the right places, and that's key. So it's just there, okay, something unstable in the place there that just holds it there. Now we are going to replace my box that I happen to have lying around with a monitor stand. Okay, again, nice and simple monitor stand that brings me up to the right place. And again, we look at this keyboard position, that's much better. Something as simple as a tennis ball that just helps me practice being in the right place and making these muscles work for a short while, maybe 5-10 minutes practice a couple of times a day, just after lunch, just when you start in the morning, just to help those muscles get working. And it helped, again, the sticky tape on the mouse that just stops me from drifting too far ahead. Okay, so now what can we do to try and improve the strength of the shoulders? Because that's what we're talking about. This is all great, but it's hard work being here for long periods of time. Okay, let's not forget that. Sitting's not easy. It's not a simple thing to do at a computer for long periods of time. And you would think it is, but it's an effort. It's hard work, and you've got to then change that effort with the mat exercise. You've got to change the effort with the balls. You've got to change the effort by not limiting where the mouse can go to. Okay, next thing. We take this. Now, if you notice my knuckle positions are upright. I'll come out of the sun. My knuckle position is upright there. If I pull this apart, it works the muscles at the back of my shoulders. If I allow this to turn in, it makes it a lot easier. I've got a lot more strength, but it doesn't work the muscles at the back of my shoulders. Okay, so here having the knuckles there, and pulling apart and getting them working, getting them fired up and moving is the right thing to do. Here, down below there, again, moving them apart, keeping them in that position, and again further up and pulling apart. Just gets them both fired up in the mornings, fired up for lunch, after lunch, and then helps loosen things off straight away again. Okay, so key thing, loads of light. Get the screen at a better height. Get the keyboard in the right place and try and get an extra keyboard that you can work off that. It plugs in really easy. Mouse, keep it close. Don't let it get away. If it goes away, it's time for a break. You're tired from the position you're in. We've got the foam roll and the crunches, the simple crunches to just get that sit up going and get things working. And we've got the ball, which will just make you work the right muscles and open up the chest. Okay? It's okay to slump, but not for too long. And we want to try and make sure that we're also releasing off those muscles by using the band to work stuff there. Remember that we're doing remote digital physio consultations. That allows us to continue to treat people with exercise and moving stuff around as best we can. And it works really well. We've been doing it for a long time, but now's the time when it's better than waiting to get your aches and pains worked on. If you've liked what you've seen here, there'll be more videos coming on the YouTube channel, so subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're doing a bit on standing desk work, we'll be doing a bit on car position, and we'll be looking at whether you suffer from back pain, how you get rid of it, and what you can do about it for yourself. So subscribe if you get a chance. Thanks very much for watching.